Well, hey there, it's Jen.
And Elka, and welcome to the Jen and Elka show, which is focusing here on print on demand marketing and strategic strategies that are going to help you make money online with print on demand. And we are so excited to present this 7-part series for you today, with the first part being today. Welcome on, come live, join us, chat in the chat. We're going to be interactive. We're so excited about this, but we are going to follow a script, and then hopefully that's going to give you some really great insights. And then because of those, you can comment and we can stop our script and just get into it. We really want to help you understand print on demand as it stands in 2026. So we're going to jump right in today, because this is one of the 7 parts of the series, obviously number 1, and everything in this 7-part series builds on what we're talking about right now. So today we're going to share the 7 strategic shifts that actually changed everything in our print on demand business. There's no hacks, no trends, not things that we've tried once. We've been in this industry for so long, and so we have a lot of experience, and we know that the worst thing to do is to go after those trends and hacks. We want an established business that's long-term, that is going to work for you, not just because you sold one t-shirt a million times. Okay, and these are the foundational shifts that are really important. And once we made them, the business stopped being fragile for us and started feeling scalable. And that's what we've been really good at. And that is one of the things that we are an experts in with regards to scaling print on demand businesses. So if you ever felt like you were doing a lot, learning a lot, and still not seeing consistent momentum, this is going to hit home with you today. Okay, so
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
I'm going to cover shift number 1. So shift number 1 is from what can I design to what is already being bought, right? And many of you, there's so many people online with us, which is amazing. So welcome. But many of you have probably been part of our community and heard us speak on YouTube, or been part of our Design Divas, or even our Profit by Design Academy. And if you haven't, then maybe you aren't in that mindset of like where you can actually look for what to sell when people are looking for that because they want to buy it, right? So shift from what can I design to what is already being bought. And this is a big shift that we had to take when we were first starting out on Zazzle, because we were just kind of guessing in the wind, and we were just posting products for sale because we liked making those products and we thought that people would want to buy them, but we weren't already just looking at the facts and the research. So in the beginning, we designed like what we liked and what felt creative, because both Elka and I have a creative background, and also what felt fun because it was an exciting new adventure for us. And that felt as productive because we were making products and we were seeing the numbers of products being made in our store, because we were also being busy as well. And so it felt good for us because we were just doing stuff, but we weren't actually being intentional about the research for creating these products. And everything shifted because we stopped asking, what can I make? And started asking, what is somebody already paying for? And what would somebody be willing to buy? All right. Because busy for us was feeling good and productive, but it wasn't being profitable. And so the one question that removed so much guesswork, and suddenly our effort started landing in the right places when we started to ask ourselves, what are people buying and what can I make because people are buying those things?
And it doesn't mean copying, but it means you have to know where the money's flowing so that you can actually be able to also be part of that commerce, right? Whether it's the Zazzle platform, which we have been really successful on, or any other platform like Etsy, Amazon, any print on demand platform, you've got to be able to understand what people are buying on those platforms. Otherwise, what's the point, right? Like, why would you bring in information from your experience when you've never done this before and realize and think that that's what's going to sell, right? Like Jen and I, we go like, oh, they're going to probably sell, like buy our art or buy our great idea. And that was the biggest learning. That's why it's shift number 1, is we just went from what we think to what actually people are buying. And then all of a sudden things started to move for us. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything else to say about shift number
No.
1 before we switch to shift number 2? Okay, so shift number 2, go from uploading more, which is really important because we get that question asked so often. How many products do I have to upload before I start making sales? It is the most ridiculous question we've ever gotten. But it's the most honest question that everybody asks, right? But if you think about it and you're in the print on demand space and you've already made some money, you realize it's not quantity. It is building fewer and stronger product systems. Okay, so it's not even just one product or one t-shirt, it's product systems. And we'll get into that a little bit more in our 7-part series. I just want to give that out to you right now. And you can sort of start to think about, well, what does that mean for you on whatever print on demand platform you're on right now? Because it is very important. And I'll just give you a little hint. Like there's all these people now in the print on demand space that are making videos about like, ooh, we just discovered gift sets. And it's like, oh my God, we've been doing that forever on Zazzle as collections. But yes, okay, so you go from uploading more to building fewer, stronger product systems. So put in the chat if that makes sense to you, or it's just like breaking your brain, because that's really, really important for you to understand that it's not quantity, it's quality, and it's strategic decisions as to what products and product systems you put up there. And so there was a season, like I said, where we believed the answer was always more uploads, more designs, more hours. And no one believed us when we said we could make this business work with 20 hours a month in terms of work. Everyone's going like, we've got to work more, or we've got to work at least more in the beginning. And it's like, no, you just have to be strategic. But without that structure, it didn't create growth, and it just created noise. But more without, like, once we focused on fewer products built intentionally, growth became repeatable instead of exhausting. So I'll say that again. Once we focused on fewer products, but those that were intentional, growth became repeatable instead of exhausting. We have the most difficult thing that we have when we coach our clients that want to scale to have a consistent 5-6 figure profit per month or even per year, depending on where you're at, whether you're at a beginner or you're already scaling. The most difficult thing we have as coaches is to tell people you can do this with less effort. Everyone thinks you have to work harder, not smarter. And I know that's an overused saying, but it's so true. And it's really important that you understand that scale doesn't come from working harder. It comes from working smarter. And then a smarter isn't really like you're not as smart as we are. It's just you're smart enough to understand what works and what doesn't work. So how does that sit with everyone in the chat? Is there does that resonate? And everyone's just going like, yeah, but what does that mean? Possibly, right? Like, let's just see about that. Is there anyone in the chat that has a comment?
Selling what people want instead of selling what I want to create, says Vivian. Yes, and I said, what is one shift that you think you need to make? I know we've only covered 2 so far. Nicola says, same here. Yes, I think people resonate with that, definitely. And I have like that experience at the beginning of my Zazzle business for sure, is that I was very creative. And plus Elka and I didn't start on Zazzle in this day and age. We started out when Zazzle was a very different platform and people didn't really think about creating products intentionally. And we were just kind of hoping that, these clip art pictures would sell, or even uploading our old artwork, because Elka did a lot of watercolor and oil paintings. And so she wanted to try using the Zazzle platform to sell her own artwork. And so it wasn't that we were actually intentionally being business owners. It was just that we found this really cool platform that we saw the opportunity to make money, but we had no idea what that even really meant. And so it's shifted a lot since then. So it's 2008, which seems quite wild that we've almost been on there for 20 years now. But yes, I know that many people, when they first start out on the Zazzle business, it's not that they are really thinking as a business owner. It's just that they see this really cool opportunity to potentially make money, because Zazzle is free to start, right? And so it's not that we're in that business mindset yet. We're just in this area where we're exploring and saying, hey, this could potentially work if I make some designs on Zazzle, but not that you're really sitting in your office as a business owner just yet. And that's where Elka and I want to make that shift for people, because that's when we realize we have to make it work as a business, because if not, then it's just going to be something that we play around with and potentially never see any results from.
And even when you're starting today and you see all these people that even give like courses away for free as to how to start on Shopify or Etsy, like what you're really seeing is just setting up a little bit of a foundational aspect, but not understanding it from a business strategic point of view, because all they're trying to do is get you to have your first sale, right? And then you're going to go, oh, they were so helpful. But the point here is that we emphasize that when you're going to put that much effort in, you've got to shift to say, I want to work on this business so it can work for me for years to come. And that's how if you approach it that way, then all of a sudden you realize, well, I don't want to do this like work that hard 10 years from now. I want to have this business working more and more passively. And everyone doesn't like that word, because then you go like, well, but I have to work in order to make it work. And it's like, yeah, of course you do. But you can also work in a way that's still very strategic and makes a lot of difference in your business, so that it can start to be passive, so that, like Jen and I do, we basically work about 4 hours a month on our business right now, whereas before we maybe worked 20 hours a month. But in that 20 hours, we were incredibly strategic. We were very efficient. We focused in on what's needed. But what we did when we weren't sitting there going like, okay, I'm going to just copy this design because this is selling like crazy on Etsy because I've got it that data from Evergreen. Instead, we were saying like, how does this business of ours on this platform, what doesn't matter which platform, Zazzle or any other POD platform, how can I generate a set of assets that is going to give me money now and next year and next year and next year, and even sometimes every month of the year, right? Every year. And that, if you have that intention, all of a sudden it really changes in terms of how you set your business up and what you put effort into. And that's really important.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We have a couple of questions. I don't know if we'll go to shift number 3 or answer them, but Sarah says, how do you know what people are buying? And then also Nicola says, I'm interested to know the difference between avoiding trends, but also creating what people want to buy. Do people not buy trending things?
Well, see, the thing is you can get some sales with the trending things, but then what happens when the trend's finished, right? And that's why we've created the course that we have on the Zazzle platform. Is we're giving you what's called evergreen products that consistently sell month after month and year after year. And it's not so much that you shouldn't follow the trends. In fact, there's some really cool trends that are coming up in 2026 where you can make a bunch of cash quick. But then what happens in 2027 when that trend is gone? And these trends are very specific to occurrences that are happening this year. There's like certain sports events, there's certain political events, there's certain like astrological events. And so all of those are really cool ways to just jump on a trend. But then you've done all that effort, and then when that trend is over, you're done, right? So you want to balance it by doing some of this trending stuff, but you want to set up a business that's a core business that, irrespective of this year or next year, people are still going to buy photo products, right? Photo gift products, for example. And that's a no-brainer. If you haven't figured that one out on any platform, then you're welcome. Okay, so now let's go into the next trend, which is, I think, your turn. Yeah, your turn.
Shift, okay. Yes, shift number 3. So and we're talking about it right now, which is quite funny. So from chasing trends to building evergreen foundations. Whoever was at Nicola, you foreshadowed that. It's a foreshadowing of our next shift that we're talking about. So trends are exciting, definitely. And I have personally jumped on a whole bunch of trends. If you've been on the Zazzle platform for many years, you know that there was rose gold glitter, there was eucalyptus, there was burlap way back when, there was linen, there was wood backgrounds. Like, I've done all of those things because I was in the wedding industry in the market on Zazzle. And so weddings, especially every year, there is something that pops up and it's a new trend. So Pantone color of the year. I was there when Pantone brought out gray and yellow together, which was the weirdest combination. And I was actually somebody who made a wedding invitation that was gray and yellow, and it actually ended up selling. But it only sold that one time because who's going to buy a gray and yellow wedding invitation in 2026? So if you remember when that came out, I think it was during COVID, which is the weirdest thing. But speaking of that, is that yes, people will buy things that are trending, and it's exciting and it's fun to make products that are trending because you can jump on the bandwagon, especially within weddings and baby showers and bachelorette parties. But evergreen products are something that will stick with you for ages. Okay. And Elka and I started out on Zazzle like in 2006, like I said, and we still to this day are selling products that we made many, many years ago because those are evergreen products and they're not chasing trends. Okay. So they spike sales, which is fun, and they feel validating, which is really cool because you're like, yes, I caught on the trend and I'm new and in the bandwagon. I'm on like I'm going with everybody, right? But they also disappear. They might ride a wave for a couple of years, like gold glitter was there for maybe 2 years or so. But then after the third year, it jumped off. Same with eucalyptus, same with Marsala, same with all of the different fonts and everything. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, it's probably because that trend is gone now, right? And so when we build evergreen foundations underneath everything else, income stopped resetting every season. Okay. And that's where we build a profitable and perceivable business for many years going forward in the future, as long as Zazzle still exists. Right. And Zazzle has been around since 2005. And to be honest, in terms of like what they're doing in terms of creating new relationships with manufacturers, updating their website and their design tool, like they're not going anywhere anytime soon. Okay. And so this is where you can feel confident about putting products in your store that will potentially sell for you many years down the road. And that's why Elka and I decided to become coaches in the first place, because we saw the potential of this when we were actually working on Zazzle, creating and establishing our own businesses, saying, if we can do it, we want to teach other people how to do it too, because this is an opportunity for many people to change their lives. And we have actually helped people change their lives if they've become part of our community and have been part of our courses. So trends became optional for us. Like we like running on the jumping on the bandwagon, because then you get those spikes in sales. You can make a lot of money. A lot of our clients made a lot of money with rose gold glitter and a lot of money with eucalyptus, a lot of money with budget invitations. And those things were trending and they really, really enjoyed that income coming in. But now, many years down the road, or even months down the road, the income is starting to go down in sales based on the trends. Okay. So trends became optional, foundations become essential. And that's what you have to really learn how to do, that shift, because I know a lot of people really like designing, for example, weddings and baby showers. And it's really cute to do, all of the little cute graphics and research for them and stuff. And it's fun for sure. And I love doing that. It makes me happy. It gives me joy. However, is that a viable thing that you should be doing for a long-term business?
Yeah, and it doesn't mean you can't do wedding or baby shower, but if you and you can have evergreen products in those occasions, niches. And we don't want to always just talk about occasions, because first of all, on Zazzle, as well as on any other print-on-demand platform, people are very biased as to what actually is the thing you have to sell, right? Whether you have to sell a T-shirt or a hat or mugs, or you have to do weddings, otherwise you're not going to make any money. It's we have dispelled that myth and blown that out of the water so many times, because first of all, Jen does weddings, I don't, and I've made so much more money than Jen. And then also all the clients that we have, never one of them is doing exactly the same thing. And they're all in different niches. They're all focusing on different aspects. And even when they're in the same niche, they're doing different things, so that they're both and or multiple people in the same niche doing the same thing are all profitable. Okay. Mm-hmm. So it's really important that you look inside, as well as doing some research as to what people are buying. But then you go like, how can I contribute individually and uniquely so that people want my stuff? And or my stuff's in demand. Okay. And this is where everyone fails, because they feel uncomfortable. They don't believe in their own abilities to do the research and go like, I can add to this. right? Instead, they go like, oh, I have to copy this. I have to use some AI tool and I have to make it the same so I get a chance. And so that flip is really important. And it's actually part of probably one of the other shifts, but we just want to hit on it right here because we've seen it over and over and over again, where we have more faith in our clients than they have in themselves until they realize they can do it. They can put that effort into not just like even in the comments, it's like, okay, what sells? And it's like, well, that's part of the answer. The rest of it is like, we can even tell you what sells, but you might still not be successful because you still have to add your own secret sauce and you have to ask, how is my business going to be set up for years to come? And so your choices and your decisions are part of this whole shift that is going to make the difference. We can guide you a certain way, but then after that, you are literally making decisions. And then when those decisions become sales, that's when we also really help people, because once we see that there's a potential with something, once it starts to sell, that's our expertise. We've taken people from earning like maybe $100 a month to earning $10,000 a month in profit within a year. And that's like, maybe that's not a lot for some of you that are watching, but it's a lot for other people. We've also helped people from like earning, like we talk in different ways. We talk in sales or we talk in profit. And on the Zazzle platform, 10% is usually the profit because they do all the rest. But you also get a chance to do more in terms of setting up your inventory. So it's kind of cool. And so once you've put that product out there, that's when it becomes passive, because you don't have to do all that other stuff that normally people realize it's not passive, but it is very passive if you set this up right. But the point here is that there are people that are making huge strides even within a year in terms of sustainable 5 to 6 figure profitable income after having started almost from scratch. And now we can't make any income claims, but we've seen it over and over again with people that truly take our training, business training, to heart and actually implement everything. All right. Say anything else?
Number 4.
What's that?
I said now we're on shift number 4.
Excellent. Okay, so shift number 4, from guessing to making strategic decisions. So again, from guessing to making strategic decisions. And I kind of touched on that because you like, that's where you're stuck, right? You're trying to guess, and then you go like, oh, yeah, I understand making strategic decisions is the way to go, but what the heck does that mean, right? But even like learning what that means and how to do that, that's what we're good at. And also that's what you have to be good at, because we learn by trial and error. And now we are so good at it that we can help others. And because we've done it in our own business, and then also in like for everybody that we've been coaching since, I think we're on year 8 of our business of coaching. And we certainly have had a lot of experience with hundreds and hundreds of people that are all different. And because of that, we've got like a spidey sense for print on demand as to what is a strategic decision and what's going to probably fail. So and we had that anxiety at the beginning too. Like guessing was because we didn't know, we weren't part of a community. There was nobody sharing any information. And even now with all the free stuff online, people are still not really sharing exactly what works. They're sharing what worked when they did it a couple of months ago or years ago. And really the print on demand space is so fluid that it's really important to learn that and build that muscle yourself rather than relying on someone else to give you, this is the trend right now. And again, that goes back to our shift earlier. We don't want to be trending. We want to be building and a foundational business. Okay. And that allows us to stop guessing. So, and then, you know what, right now, what you're doing is you're uploading and waiting, right? And then you wonder if it worked out. One decision, like once a decision's done as an intentional decision instead of an emotional decision, because you're desperate, you're scared, you want to make money, but you have no clue and you're just trying everything. When you switch it to an intentional decision outside of the emotional part, then the mental load drops dramatically. So, and that's why we can sit here so confidently. Whereas a couple of years ago, when we first started, oh my gosh, we were just stressed to the nines trying to figure out whether or not this is going to work. And we would try, and then like days would go by and it's like no sales. And so we've been there. We understand the anxiety, and we want you to get out of that anxiety. Okay. And so even when something didn't work, what you have to do is, like we did, we finally understood why it didn't work. And because of that, it built that muscle to make those strategic decisions. Okay. And it gave us the confidence instead of frustration. And you can do that over time by constantly trying and trying. And if it doesn't work, just get back at it. Or you can get advice from others like ourselves, where you're in a community and there's collective wisdom, so that you're in, like, tapped into what's going on around you right now in that space that you're trying to succeed in. Okay. So shift number 5, Jen.
Okay, shift number 5. So this is where passive income fantasy shifts to intentional maintainable income, right? Passive income fantasy, intentional maintainable income. And with sort of full circle back to what we were talking about at the beginning, where when Elka and I first started out, it was exciting because we found this platform called Zazzle, and it gave us this opportunity where we could sign up for free and potentially make money if we were selling products. And we didn't have to talk to customers. We didn't have to make the products. We didn't have to shift them out. And we came from a world of trying all these different things on Etsy and making physical products and things. And so this was a really cool fantasy for us, where we could just sit on our computer, have fun designing, and potentially make money. But we were doing the busy work, right? We were just posting random products for sale. We weren't doing the intentional work. And so this is where the shift comes in from intentional maintainable income. So a lot of people are sold on the idea that passive income means doing nothing, right? And many of you might think that as well. Plus all of this stuff on social media where people are showcasing things on Etsy or Shopify and finding these t-shirts, going to the Evergreen statistics and saying, this t-shirt is sold 10,000 times. If you make the same thing, you can make that much money as well. That's all lies, and it's also copying, and it's giving people a false reality of what passive income is, right? We obviously have to work for it, and we tell our clients, and you've probably heard us on YouTube saying, work smarter, not harder, right? We still have to work, but we have to work smarter, right? And you have to understand that passive income, although you can make money literally while you're sleeping, which I do, because you get emails throughout the night when somebody in Australia buys something from your store, it doesn't mean that you're not working when you have those work hours associated with it, right? So what we learned is that sustainable income isn't about effort disappearing, it's about effort becoming smarter, right? And then also, once the foundation was built correctly, maintenance became light, predictable, and manageable. And I want to go back to that point and reread that, because once the foundation was built correctly, maintenance became light, predictable, and manageable. Because a lot of people on Zazzle who come into our courses, into our community, and myself included, way back when, is that they have built this monster of a store, thinking that the more products that they have in their store, the more money they're going to make. And everything is so disorganized and it's all over the place and it's a mess, right? And once you go into either you come into the Profit by Design Academy, or you learn our 5 strategies, which we teach our clients, you understand that building the foundation is the most important first step, because you have to have something solid at the beginning before you build on top of it, right? And once Elka and I, we created our solid foundation and cleaned everything up, maintenance actually became easier. And also understanding that, yes, you put in the hard work at the beginning, but later on, Elka and I barely work on our Zazzle stores now, and we're still making money. But if we were to put the effort in and want to work, we could work less than 4 hours a week and still make money. And some of our clients actually do that because they have other things going on in their lives. But they're able to do that because they did the work at the beginning, and they built the proper foundation from the beginning. So once we found that out, and that shift that we made, right, rather than it just being a fantasy of ours to creating intentional manageable income that's passive, that's when income finally started becoming and feeling supportive instead of stressful, right? Because I know many of you are very scared sometimes to go and open up your computer and look at your earnings because nothing's changed, right? I was one of those people that I would have anxiety about looking at my earning status because I knew in my heart that nothing was selling, and I didn't want to look at it because I didn't want to have that stress upon me. But once you actually realize, hey, I have to fix something, because if I'm not making sales, something needs to be changing because I'm not doing the right thing. I need to be doing something different and not expect the same result or different results by doing the same thing. That's when it felt good for us and when we started to see that passive income come in.
For anyone who's on, do you have that experience, or are you still in the stress mode? We want to hear from you because we've been doing a lot of talking in the last couple of shifts. But I had an email just this morning where it started out with like, I'm done with Zazzle, or I'm done with print on demand, because it's frustrating. It always changes. And it's the weirdest thing because it doesn't make, like, when those changes happen with how we've set up our print on demand businesses now, it doesn't make a difference for us. It used to, but that's how we learned and how we decided to continually improve our business strategy and foundation, so that any changes that happen, and print on demand is definitely a place, like if you want to get into print on demand, you've got to be prepared for changes. But if you set your business up correctly, you're definitely not going to be affected as much and as quickly and as hard as if you don't have that foundation set up. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So while we wait for some comments, I'll go into the next shift, which is shift number 6. And so this is from doing everything ourselves to leveraging systems and templates. Now, this sounds really weird because most of us are single entrepreneurs. Like, we run the whole business, right? We're not, like, when it says leveraging systems and templates, some people go like, well, I'm not hiring staff, or I'm not, what are you talking about, systems and templates? But the systems are your products, and the templates are your products, and the designs on your products. So and the system is also your store. And your routine and how you run your business. And that is so important because it's not just a fly-by-night, let's go check Evergreen or check to see what's selling on Amazon, or my Shopify store just did something, like had a result, so I'm just going to run with that. Like, it's more step back, look at things. How can I make this more leveraged, and how can I profit more from this now that I've seen this result? And it's so important when you realize you have that power. Mm-hmm. So, and we always thought like I'm just going into this because I came from a corporate business world. So I keep thinking, well, I've got to have staff, or I don't have to do everything myself. And one of the biggest things is that I don't have to do all of the work on Etsy. For example, there's so many people that think it's so great that they have 1,000 envelopes on their table that they're all filling the orders for, and they're like, I'm doing so well. And it's like, you're nuts. Like, sorry, but you're nuts, because I have Zazzle doing that work for me. That's my system, right? Zazzle's staff does that. And I am free to do more work on my Zazzle store to create more inventory so I can sell 10 times as much instead of wasting my time stuffing envelopes with products and sticking labels on things, or even creating products. Now, a lot of people are going to digital products that are selling, and they're partnering with Printify or Printful or whatever it's called now, or any of the other ones like Envato. But what you really have to understand is that's one of your systems, is how do you make print on demand more passive? Mm-hmm. And then the second part is, how do you actually create a set of products in your inventory that also have templates, so that when someone makes, like when I make a product and then someone takes that product design and adds their own information, or even changes the entire design, which has happened, I still get a royalty. So it's like, okay, fine, good. And so you want to pick a platform that works for you, which turns into your system, that allows you to create templates like it does on Zazzle, where you end up with the ability to sell a lot more to a lot more people, even though you didn't come up with the idea, or you still had to be involved somehow in, like, even the digital products, if they have issues with downloading it from Canva, blah, blah, blah. You just want to be in a position where it's very hands-off. And so doing everything ourselves to leveraging systems and templates is one of the biggest shifts you can make, because you realize that it frees you up. And instead of it being worker bee mentality, you are all of a sudden allowed to grow exponentially. Your growth is no longer capped because your hours in the day are limited, and your ability and physical ability and mental capacity are just like not going to be used properly because the system that you're using is currently sucking your creativity, right? So instead of letting it be sucked out so that you're tired by the end of the day, you could have spent the whole day creating an entire new product suite that's going to increase your income by tenfold, right?
Mhm.
So one of the decisions you've got to make is make something that's got repeatable, sellable possibilities, and that way you move faster to scale faster, so you won't burn out. Okay, that's shift number 6.
Okay, last one here. Shift number 7 is from consuming information to following a proven framework. And this is where our 5 strategies come in. If you don't know what those are, they're establish, create, announce, align, and analyze. It's what we teach in our Profit by Design Academy. We've been teaching it and perfecting it over the last 8 years of coaching. It's our signature course that people come into and they realize that they need this proven framework, and we help them do that. Because what Elk and I realized when we first started out on Zazzle was that we really enjoyed working on Zazzle because it was fun. It was flexible. We could work whenever we want. We could work in our pajamas while we were watching TV if we wanted to. But we were not actually doing the research to figure out what worked and what didn't until 2 years or a year later, right? Elk and I made $90 in our first year after slugging away at, creating all these products. And we thought the more we put out there, the more money we would make, but it wasn't true. And so that's where Elka made that shift and understood that she needed to create some sort of strategic action plan. And this point from the shift is from consuming information to following a proven framework is actually funny because right now there's so much information available on the internet, on social media, on YouTube. You're watching us on YouTube right now and you're consuming information. What we didn't have the opportunity to do was actually consume that information because there wasn't very much readily available. YouTube didn't exist the way it does today. Instagram was non-existent. Pinterest was kind of there. Many of the social media platforms are completely different, and the way that you can research and find information has expanded exponentially since we started out on Zazzle. So Elk and I, the information that we were consuming was just her and I brainstorming together and being like, maybe we should try this, or maybe we should try this. Plus all of the things that were written in the Zazzle forum, which I highly recommend that you only really listen to the official Zazzle representatives, because a lot of people post stuff on there that isn't true. And it's just a place where people kind of vent and complain a lot. But that's where we got our information. Right. And that's where we could only really consume things. And so once Elka decided I need to have a structured plan in my business, that's where she came up with the 5 strategies. And then she used me as a guinea pig because I was, a teenager at that point in time, 18 years old, a little bit reckless, and said, well, I can make it work on my own. I couldn't. So she was like, let me prove it to you. If you follow these steps, then you're going to see different results. And I definitely did, right? And so I was actually her first client or student, let's call it that, when she created those 5 strategies way back when, before we even taught them publicly. So this is the shift that tied everything together when we realized that we needed a proven framework. And then we weren't stuck because we didn't know enough, right? It's not that we didn't understand, it's just that we didn't have it implemented properly because we were stuck because we were learning everything out of order and actually not putting things in order, right? And that's why the 5 strategies happen in that order, because if you're all of a sudden starting to make, let's say, lots of products without figuring out who your avatar is or your perfect customer, then you're not creating products that are intentional because you've skipped a step. If you're creating, products and not creating your brand, or you're creating all of these collections without even thinking about who you're serving, like there is an order to creating your Zazzle store so that you don't come to a certain point in time later on, years from now and say, holy smokes, like my store is a mess and it's going to take me ages to fix everything. That's why we have this structure when it comes down to branding, your avatar, your store categories, your collections, your intentional product creation, when it comes to analyzing your data, right? And understanding how your store is really working because of that proven framework. So once we started collecting random tips, and or random ideas that we had and started following this framework, which is the 5 strategies, our progress sped up and confidence increased because first of all, we saw results that we were doing and we had milestones of like, let's just say we created really great products and we hadn't known how to do that, or we understood how to use the templates properly. There were personal milestones, and then there was also financial milestones where we said, okay, finally we've made more than $90 in our first year. We're making now hundreds of dollars. And then Elka at one point was making over $100,000 a year, right? And has made over $1.5 million in total. And so that's where the business finally felt real, and we felt like it felt comfortable because we had this structure. And sometimes you just have to push yourself outside your boundaries and your comfort zone in order to get to that spot. But we have taught so many people who have thought that they have hit a cap. Let me back in. Yeah, I don't know what happened to Elka. Hello. You disappeared. That many people have hit a cap in our clientele where they said, I can't make any more money. I've been on Zazzle for years and years, and I've only made a couple $100. And as soon as they come into our program and our course, all of a sudden something changes and they realize that they were just doing it a way that was not being productive. It wasn't that they were doing something wrong. It was just that they didn't have that proven framework.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, I, for some reason, just got shifted out because I screenshotted something. All right. So we're not here to sell anything. We're here to explain that there are so many people that are amazing at what they do, and they just needed to know what to focus on to do in order to succeed. And that we've seen that time and time again, right? Because we're not here to create new people. You have more talent probably than we do, but you have to follow some sort of structure that is working so that you can take what talents you have and just create your own little niche part, or even, I don't even want to say niche, because you're just creating your own world on the print on demand platform that works for you. And we have a lot of clients that actually are on all the platforms, but each platform is a little bit different. And we like Zazzle because it has, as mentioned in one of the shifts, a lot more systems and templates that make it a lot easier to run a print on demand business than some of the other ones. And it's a lot less expensive, obviously.
Just wanted to jump in really quickly. Nelda made a comment here and she says, oh my gosh, I don't know if you're looking at our screen or you're looking at your notes, but she says, when I first started out in 2016, the only information about Zazzle was Elka's e-pamphlet, 8 Steps to Success on Zazzle, and I wore out those 8 pages.
Yeah, that's why I got cut out, because I screenshotted that. Well, thank you, Nelda. Yeah, and see, Nelda's a perfect case of that. She has amazing designs. She is very creative. She is smart. She even does really good in terms of managing her inventory, but she just needed to have the whole package so that the pieces that she had could fit into everything else that was needed to run the business. And so so she had to do maybe 4 of those shifts that we're talking about today. And that made the difference, because you can't just do one shift. You have to do them all in order to really stand firm on whatever platform you're working on, but especially with the Zazzle platform, because it's so unique. But that platform also gives you the chance to become a brand. And Nelda gets sought out by customers all the time. And she's also people know her. And there's been so many clients of ours, and also clients that just use Zazzle, that became worldwide brands, and they sold their brands for millions of dollars because they started on Zazzle. Don't look at it like, I need to make some money and this is free, and so I'll start a print on demand store. Instead, you have to go I'm going to create a business that's long term, that's going to give me print on demand income for years to come. And I don't have a cap on my income. And based on what I do, whether smarter work, not harder work, but whatever I put in as effort that's smart, is going to help me scale to the point where I'm happy with what income I get. So if you work at it that way, then all of a sudden you realize there's so much potential with print on demand than just selling a couple of t-shirts because Everbee said those are popular. Okay. So we have Was that the last shift, or am I doing
That
the
was the
last?
last shift, but we have like a little bit of a closing. So if you're watching this video, you've been on with us for almost 40 minutes now, which is amazing, or over 40 minutes, sorry, 45. You've been here, you're interested, right? You're watching this and you're realizing that you've been doing a lot of things right, or maybe just even in the wrong order, or maybe you're not doing any of these things right. I know some people said that their store is a mess because they've got their categories disorganized, that they need to do some shifts. So wherever you're at in your Zazzle journey, you are okay. You're in the right place. You're here with us right now. You're watching this video of our live stream and you're taking in all of that information. Okay. So whether you feel like you're doing everything good, or if you're like, oh my goodness, I realized I'm actually not on the right path, we're here to reel you in. Okay. We created this course called the Profit by Design Academy. We're doing all of these live stream videos. In the next couple of days, hopefully even today or tomorrow, we will have a free downloadable for you called a diagnostic that will help you see exactly where your store is stuck and what needs to shift next. Okay. And that's going to be available hopefully today or tomorrow. We're still working on our team to get that out to you. So if you see this video as a replay, we will make sure that that link is in the description or in the comments afterwards. Okay, and so this is part one of our live series. We have 7 videos in total, so 6 more to come. So make sure that you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. I saw that many of you were actually in the waiting room for our upcoming videos. It's something new that we're trying out where we've actually scheduled them so you can show up to the video live portion without it actually being live yet. So you don't have to worry about like where the link is and all of those things. And so make sure that you're subscribed. And then tomorrow we're breaking down the difference between a side hustle and a real online business. And it's important. It's a very important conversation. Okay. And so many of you might be thinking, I have a business right now. I'm on Zazzle, but many of you actually might be just treating it as a side hustle or a hobby even, which is what Elke and I did when we first started out. So make sure that you join us tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, same time as today, and each day throughout the week until, so today, Friday, and then every day next week. No things on Saturday or Sunday, but then starting Monday through Friday next week, we are going live every single day as well at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay.
Yes, so make sure you come back for all of the 7 videos, not just this one. And let's get more participation. I know there's some questions in the chat, but they're very specific in terms of tasks. And I think that's actually where a lot of people get lost. Those are handled in our course, and they're very specific for each of your stores. So that's why we never actually do those trainings in terms of what you guys are asking, because they're very specific for each store owner and what you're currently trying to sell. And because of that, we have a month-long coaching component that's a bonus as part of our Profit by Design Academy, where that's where you're going to get that answer. Okay. Mm-hmm. And even Sarah, who said that her royalties have come down because of the changes that Zazzle made, that is what I'm speaking about, is that there have been multiple changes throughout this history while Jen and I have been on Zazzle, and we've always experienced a bit of a change based on the changes that Zazzle made, including this one that just happened in April of 2025. But because we've built our businesses in such a way, and also with the 5 strategies, again, that is something that would then be easily overcome. And so when you say that you've had a big hit, it means your store foundation wasn't set up right to be able to quickly pivot, or even just have enough inventory so that and have it set up the way it should be in order for you not to like get that big hit and feel that so hard. Okay. Mm-hmm. So we won't go into those details here, but because we know that if we just give general advice, it's not going to work for you. We need to give you personalized advice. That's why we have that coaching program. Mm-hmm. But yes, like a 7-part series. We're here. We've just finished number 1, and we are so excited that everyone's on for so long because we love discussing this. We are so dedicated, I think almost over dedicated, to help people. We've helped people make over $165 million in sales. And that number is actually old from when we did the calculation last April. So I know it's definitely more. We've helped, how many people have we got now at the $1 million sales level? I think it's, I've forgotten now. But anyway, you can go look on our website and see the stats. We're just so excited for people because we know Even if you're struggling, we know there's options for you, because you're struggling because you can't get out of your own way. Okay, so keep watching this series. You're just going to start to really understand what is necessary and what maybe is holding you back, and then we can go deeper in terms of what you need in order to succeed, whether it's on Zazzle or in any other print-on-demand business, because it actually, all of them apply. And we've had so many of our clients say, I do this for Zazzle because you taught it for Zazzle, but I actually applied it to Etsy and Shopify too, and it's just worked so well. Okay, awesome. So
Wonderful.
we'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Okay.